bring it to the flow.
Talent grace, I'm never gonna be done. Lean on in. Now welcome to the kingdom.
You're watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, aka the Canadian Assassin, and I am not alone. She is the ultimate cat mom, and she's also a wrestler. Please welcome Sarah the Rebel.
What it do? What it do?
And I know you guys are not here for us. We have the start of the weekend, we have news and all that good stuff, but we have an amazing guest. She's been in the game for more than 15 years. You've seen her on Shimmer, you've seen her on WWE. Now you most recently have seen her on AEW. She is currently the NWA Women's Champion. Please welcome Serena Deeb.
Thank you so much. That was a beautiful intro.
Thank you. We are so happy to have you on the show. Let's get into it. So I have to, I don't know what the right wording is, like put myself like at the mercy of the court. That's not even the right wording, but that's not even like totally what I'm trying to say. But we've had Thunder Rosa on the show quite a few times. So I'm going to let you know that I was rooting for her. However, that match was an amazing match. So I became a fan. So like, I don't want you to watch the show and it's like, oh, she said she was awesome. So I just want to let you know that I was rooting for Thunder Rosa, but the match was so amazing that I became why are you laughing at me, Sarah? I became a fan of everybody.
I just love how you talk about yourself.
She pulls on herself. Yeah. Just love it. No worries. She's an amazing person and wrestler. So I don't blame you.
Yeah, so I mean, the rise, like you guys have kind of gone at it a couple of times. So I'm like kind of going reverse as far as questions. So you've been in the game for quite some time. So when you work with somebody like a Thunder Rosa compared to somebody who's kind of new in the game, how do you prep for those matches? Or like how do you kind of take it as far as somebody who's been in the game and somebody who's kind of still green?
Oh, great question. I think with somebody like Thunder Rosa, it's just, it's really easy. Just little things, such as timing and, just how you connect in the ring with somebody. Those are easier with someone on her level. And I think there's with in-ring communication, like through your body, through your voice, through all of that, when somebody's super experienced and just awesome, such as she is, the communication is smoother and just more simple. It's just there a little bit more naturally and organically, so that's, yeah, I don't know if that answered the question, but I think with someone like that, it's just easier.
So I got to see you come back for the Mae Young Classic, and I was all like kind of surprised, like, whoa, this is awesome, as I'm sure everyone was. And then you were kind of working behind the scenes. Did you expect that you were going to get back in front of the camera in the ring again? And did you have any idea this NWA thing was going to come through? Like, kind of what was that process like for you?
Also, awesome question. Thank you so much. To be honest with you, while I was coaching, and I absolutely love my coaching job, and it really let me grow as a human being so much. So I'm super grateful for it. But the whole time I was coaching, I had a feeling that I may not be done wrestling. But obviously, I was embracing that chapter and that role in my life. And so, there was like this part of me that was like, I don't feel done, like in my heart, I don't feel done. And then there's this other part of me that was just trying to be super present with that job and embracing what that was bringing into my life. So I think there was always, a large portion of me that didn't feel done, still had something, to contribute in the ring. And, but all of this with AEW and NWA has happened really fast. And, it's been great. It's been fun. But, it was slightly unexpected and also amazing.
So now you're back with AEW and NWA as well. Is there anybody that you're kind of looking to have a match with that you haven't had a match with yet?
So many. I mean, there's an entire roster of women that, I haven't had the chance to get in the ring with them before. but I would say first and foremost, Shida, the AEW Women's Champion, is somebody that I really like her wrestling style, and I think she's, you know, been a great champion and has had some amazing matches and done a good job of, you know, of having that division right on the shoulders of her being the champion, you know. So I'd say she's probably the person that I want to get in there with the most.
So now that you say that, so you do have the NWA Women's Champion. And now, is there a possibility, or like, did you read between the bylines as far as can you have both championships, the AEW and the NWA championship at the same time? Is that what you're gunning for, or is that even possible?
It's definitely possible. That is absolutely what I'm gunning for. I think, you know, it would be really powerful to hold two championships at the same time, especially for, you know, two of the top companies in the world. You know, when I first joined the AEW roster, I 100% had my sights set on being AEW Women's Champion, and then there's crossover with NWA, and I started doing stuff with them. So it's 100% like what I'm looking at and where I'm looking at going. And, you know, if the opportunity presents itself, I know a lot of people talk about champion versus champion match, and I'm not sure if that's on the horizon or not, but, you know, I'll be ready for sure.
I'm
So
ready for that.
you, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you won the NWA Women's Championship at Primetime Live.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. So our normal co-host is named Emily, and she was so sad to miss you today because she's a part of that show. So I was just wondering, just to, you know, so she doesn't think we've forgotten about her, can you say hi, Emily, for us?
Hi,
Emily. We love her.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, Emily. We miss you.
So what was that experience like working, because Primetime Live is a studio, you know, it's much smaller than an AEW kind of show. Was that interesting? Was that different, working with a studio style wrestling show?
It was really interesting. You know, there were obviously no fans there, and that's just, you know, that's just the signs of the times, obviously, right now. But I think that was, you know, my first time really being in a studio like that, because at Daly's Place we always have, you know, at least there's people ringside, and there's a little bit of noise. And the nights when we, you know, get to have fans, there's a lot more noise. But that was my first real experience in the COVID era of working in a studio. So really interesting, but I felt like I was really present in the ring for that match, because there was no, you know, it's when you have a crowd there and you're feeding off of their energy, and you're having conversations with the crowd, and you're, you know, like you're opening up to them. There's a lot more like external, you know, elements going on. And then in the studio, it was very like, I felt really dialed in, and I felt super in the moment, you know?
So what was the experience? So you finished off at the Performance Center because of, you know, COVID and all that stuff. Like, what was the call like from AEW and even NWA as far as like, hey, by the way, this is what we kind of are thinking where you're concerned? What was that conversation like?
The call from AEW was, I mean, when I say last second, it was like about 48 hours, you know, before that Dynamite match. And it was sort of like an inquiry as to, would it be something I'm interested in? And, you know, is that what I'm prepared for and looking for at the moment? And it was, oops, sorry, okay, there we go. I had a software update pop up. So, you know, that was really last minute. And I went into it with this mindset of, well, I'm just gonna like make the best of this opportunity and, you know, try to go out there and have a great match. And I didn't foresee anything even coming, because I was just like, I was focused on that experience and making that as awesome as I could. And then obviously, you know, it went really well and things were really positive moving forward from that. And so like I said, like everything else that's happened since then has been happening really fast. The opportunity to work with the NWA was absolutely like just an honor and amazing. And I was supposed to do a show for them in, I think it was early October. And then what happened was I had exposure to somebody who had tested positive for COVID. So, I was fine and everything, but just for precaution purposes, I had to postpone the show, and then I didn't know exactly when that was going to be rescheduled for. And so we were working on our calendars, and then, that's when they decided to do the rematch with Thunder Rosa and I, and the championship on the line. And again, that all happened pretty quickly. Like that was about, a couple of weeks beforehand, we figured out that that's what we were doing. So, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. So you've been wrestling for quite some time. As far as like when you first started wrestling to now, what changes have you seen that you really like? And if there's anything that you're like, man, I wish, this part of wrestling didn't change.
Great question. From a female standpoint, the business is a completely different place. As you guys know, I started my training it was still like the Divas era, and they were doing the Diva search every year. And the qualities in performers that they were looking for were very different. And so when if you were just about the wrestling, it wasn't always the best environment for that, or the most conducive environment to growing in that area. And now when it's weird being out of the ring for as long as I was, almost 5 years, and then coming back into that role and, just and seeing all those changes. It's, to even have a women's match on the card, let alone an awesome women's match, is huge compared to 15 years ago. So I think it's amazing. And, it didn't happen overnight, and it didn't come without just tons of hard work and grinding by so many different women over the years that, they wanted to redefine things, and they wanted to, the business to be a better place. So I just think it's amazing to see the growth. And, there's so many shows around the world these days where the women are the main event or stealing the show and having the best match on the card. And it's beautiful, it's really a joy to see that.
Definitely. So switching gears a little bit, being a yoga instructor, I'm of course curious because DDP yoga is very popular with indie wrestlers. I'm not sure about, at the higher stage, but have you considered creating your own form of yoga specifically for wrestling? Or if you have your own, if there is a type of yoga that you prefer to do to keep your body in shape for wrestling?
Yeah, awesome question. Thank you for that. I have 100% considered it. It's something that I have, this circle of like my core best friends that we talk almost every day, whether it's business or personal or anything. And we talk about it all the time, what would the steps be to developing that, and, the website and YouTube and all of that. So it's something that's being discussed a lot, and I'm hoping that short-term goal-wise, within the next 6 months to a year, there will be some steps completed and along that path. So it's something I'm really interested in. In terms of styles of yoga, I've done a couple of different teacher trainings in my life. I've done like Bikram, hot yoga, and vinyasa, and I think I really fell in love with vinyasa more than anything. And it's just like your body flows, and you're moving with your body and with your breath, and that's kind of the yoga that I escape the most in. Definitely.
Now, when you were at the Performance Center, could you like when you're training folks, is there something that you would see in somebody that had like that it factor where you knew like, okay, this person like in the next year or 6 months or 2 years, they're gonna get it and it's gonna make sense and they're gonna become like a great wrestler? Or is it more of, they're putting in the work and you kind of see them show up as time goes on?
It's, there's experiences with both. There's some people that are just naturals and wrestling just clicks with. Rhea Ripley's an example of that. She was somebody that just from the second I saw her, I was like, okay, this girl's going to be a star. She's going to do big things in this business. And watching the growth of someone like her in the time I was there was really rewarding and just proud. I see her killing it from afar. And I just, it's like, that was somebody that it was just a no-brainer. It just made sense. There's the other side of the spectrum too, where it doesn't come as naturally. I mean, of everything, I've done and experienced in my life, figuring out pro wrestling is the hardest thing. It is so much harder. It goes so much deeper than people might think. And like, there's so many components to it. And sometimes you get the physical, but you don't get the mental, or vice versa. So there's definitely examples of people that have had to put in the extra work. Like it hasn't come as easy. And, I admire the paths of those people too. That's why when you see someone like a Rhea Ripley and they're just a total package, they have every single component locked in, it's just rare. And you only see a handful of those over the course of every couple of years, so.
Wow, that actually made me feel a lot better, because that's how I felt about my wrestling training. I was like, why isn't this coming to me? So it's good to know I'm not the weirdo and that it's pretty normal.
Oh, you are not at all. I'm telling you, it's so hard. Like but I just like encourage you to have fun with it and just be patient with yourself, because sometimes you have these moments, these light bulb moments where it just clicks.
So I'm known for coming up with ideas and concepts and stuff like that. So I have two for you. Why are you laughing at me?
What? I'm just enjoying the moment. What do you mean?
So I have two concepts. So one is yoga. I absolutely love yoga. I've been doing it on and off for like 10 years. I feel like there should be some type of partnership with DDP yoga. Like, I know like you're kind of doing the app, but there should be like your version of it, if that makes sense. I feel like that's something that should be happening. And then two, the second one is that I definitely believe, and I know you're gunning for it, the NWA and AEW, like having those championships together at the same time. Like, I feel like that should happen too, either at the end of this year or at the beginning of this year, the beginning of next year. I feel like that should be the pathway for you to go. So once that happens, as far as the championships are concerned, what type of champion will you be, like holding both belts?
Ooh, you're amazing. And yes, yes to both of those ideas. Type of champion, I mean, as as simple as it is, like a fighting champion, I intend to defend the championship anywhere, anytime, against anyone, anywhere in the world. I would love to travel once COVID kind of, eases up a little bit. I'd love to hop on a plane and go to Japan, defend the championship in Tokyo, in Australia. Like my intention is to just take it or both everywhere, all over the world. And I would love to expose the world to women that they maybe haven't seen before, and help get some people, at this point, like I've spent the last few years just giving back to the business in a pretty major way. And just because I'm not in that coaching exactly role anymore, I still want to make sure that, I'm giving back and I'm contributing and elevating women's wrestling in my own way. So yeah, that's my intention. I'd like to, spread the wings of both championships and take them everywhere.
I like it. I like it. So we're going to hit rapid hot tags real quick. And what rapid hot tags is I'm going to ask you a question and you say the first answer that comes to your mind. So you ready?
Yeah.
So favorite quarantine snack?
Ice cream.
Oh, me too. Do you prefer working out at home or at the gym?
Gym.
Cooking at home or ordering out?
Ooh, cooking at home.
If you could wake up tomorrow having gained one quality or ability, what would it be?
Trust.
What in your life are you most grateful for?
My family.
If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which one would you choose?
Body.
Yeah, team body.
Yeah, Sarah and I are definitely on that train. Emily, not so much.
Nice.
So Sarah's gonna hit the star of the week real quick.
Women's Wrestling Star of the Week.
Today's star of the week is Vipress. Debuting in 2016 out of EWF in California, Vipress has made a name for herself as a fearless competitor, becoming one half of Rogue Wrestling's tag team champions in a harrowing intergender tournament while dealing with a leg injury. She just recently made her AEW Dark debut against Big Swole, but before that she could be seen on Impact, Evolve, The Crash, PCW Ultra, Shine, and many more. We can't wait to see what's next for the Serpent of Evil. Be sure to follow her at _Vipress and tell them Women's Wrestling Talk sent you. And if you want to learn more about a star of the indie wrestling scene, please shoot us your suggestions for future stars of the week.
Thank you, Sarah. And oh my gosh, I just came out with another idea. So I've been known for my last couple of interviews. I've been kind of like doing deep dives on social media, and I went through your social media, and I think that you should do like a yoga, like at least once a week, like maybe like a IG live, 4 to 5 minutes, just like a flow.
Great idea.
They just sometimes the connection with people, just the ideas just come, just run off.
I'm just a genius, that's all.
You hear that, Sarah? Just the genius.
I heard it. True.
I love it.
Thank you so much, Serena, for coming on. Can you let people know where they can follow you, just in case they are not following you, even though you guys should be?
Thank you so much. Twitter and Instagram, just at Serena Deeb. And I totally thank you for all your ideas. Those are all like on the horizon, and I appreciate your passion so much.
No problem. Yeah, and you can have them. I might take credit for it, but you can have them.
Yes.
It's just more like credit me saying it, but it won't be like, hey, by the way, it won't be any of that stuff. You can take all those ideas.
Love it.
And Sarah, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Sarah the Rebel everywhere. Sarah's an H, as God in the Bible intended. And you should definitely check out my Patreon this month. December is going to be popping.
And thank you guys so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. You can follow us on all social media, on Twitter at WWTalkPod and on Instagram at WWTalk. And you can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. Till next time, guys. Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.